Hey, good morning, YouTube. Good morning to my Mr. and Mrs. Go Harder podcast. I got another video, another podcast for you this morning. This one right here, I'm gonna title it "When You Are the Leader, Like It's Already in You. Stop waiting on the group when you're the group leader." And this is something that I had to learn a long time ago. It's kind of funny, but I took this moment and put it into my adult life to boss up and be the one. So this was back in the day. I want to say I was like this was elementary, maybe middle school. I think it was middle school, somewhere around in there. So it was this girl I was talking to. I believe her name was Erica. Man, I used to love me some Erica. So we talking, and she invited me to the house. And I guess you could say I was nervous. Like I was cool, but you know how low key you nervous. So I said, okay, cool, bet I'm coming. I think that was like back in the day. There was no such term as Netflix and chill, but that was gonna be that first Netflix and chill right there, or whatever. But I ended up calling my boy up, James, and I'm like, hey, James, roll me down to Erica's house. So he all with. He like, all right, cool. So I called her back. I'm like, hey man, James for the slide through, and she like, what? She like, no, nah, me and my sister finna go somewhere. And I'm looking at the phone like, but you just told me to come down there, you know? Now as an adult, I realized, yeah, dummy, she told you to come down there, not no damn James. So what I took from that is what I'm doing now with these YouTube videos, what I'm doing with just starting that podcast yesterday. I remember in high school, it was two brothers that I knew that were intellectual on different levels. One of them, he had a hustle in the ground. I remember his name was Tavon. I remember he would walk to Sam's Club from school after school to buy these big boxes of variety of candy. He had the M&Ms, the Hershey bar, and just all of it, Skittles, and he would come back and sell it. But he would walk, so he had a hustle in the mindset. His mind was just, it was like, man, I like the way you think. Then I had another fella that I knew, and he was on a spiritual side, and he had experienced some things in life. So pretty much what I was trying to do was just have people from different backgrounds, but still had somewhat of the same mindset as me. That way, we could do like a podcast. I don't know if it was called a podcast back then, but that's what I wanted to do. And I reached out to him, like, hey, man, I told him the plan, what I just said to you, and needs to say it didn't happen. So I didn't start it. So I started thinking, man, I gotta stop waiting on the group when I'm the damn leader of the group. When you're the leader, the one that gets it started, you're gonna be the one that's gonna, start the conversation. Then other people gonna see. Most people don't move until they see you move. But if you're the one that's gonna take the first step, like you have enough ambition to do it, go on and step out on faith and make it happen. And this is the reason why I do. I was on Twitter one day, probably about about 4 years ago. This girl posted something, and she said, "If you didn't get the likes that you got, will you continue to post what you post?" And I realized, wow, she's right. Most people do what they do based off the gratification that they get, from others. I like this or whatever it is. They like, they heart, retweet, whatever it may be, whatever social media platform you on. That made sense to me. If you didn't get the likes that you got, would you post what you post? So what that means is, like with these videos, I may see about 2-3 videos, likes, this, that, and the third, or views. But see, it's not about that. Like I said in one of my other videos, 99% could be all BS, but that 1% could save your life. So if I touch one person, that means something. If one or two people come to me and say, Aunt, you know what? That video, that podcast did it for me. I feel like, and that's what I've been getting. So it's almost like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. Another example, one of my favorite pastors, T.D. Jakes, he was saying that, I think he was writing in some type of newsletter or something like that, and people were criticizing him, so he said he pulled back, and this lady came across him, and she said, Bishop T.D. Jakes, I haven't been seeing your newsletters, where have you been? He said, well, I didn't think nobody liked them. She said, what? He said, yeah, I looked at all the negative comments. I didn't think nobody liked them. She said, no, Bishop J. She said, no. If you noticed in the comments, the people that were commenting, they can't even spell. She said, intellectual people don't have time to sit up and comment. They take what you say and run with it. So he said he got back to it. So I learned from that, put the content out there. It's almost like putting the food on somebody's plate, and how they eat it, that's how they gonna digest it, if they do. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my job to teach you how to eat, tell you how to digest it. My job is just to put it on a plate and you run with it. Like when I listen to Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson, hey look, they did their part. They put it on a plate. It's up to me, you know, what I'm gonna do with it, how I'm gonna digest it, and where I'm gonna take it. So like I said, with the title of this, you know, if you're the leader, stop waiting on the group to start whatever it is. You know, it may be your own business. Stop waiting on somebody to invest. Now, of course, we know we all need help in life. We all need this, that, and third. But how you know God's not waiting to see you take the first step? You may fail, but you've showed him, I'm going to step out on faith instead of wait for everybody else to move. I'm going to take my first move. I'm going to take my first step. And guess what? I truly believe he's going to open the door and put the people that you need around you. And what I believe is, if you take the first step, you put yourself in an environment where somebody's going to see you. You know what I'm saying? That's like my sister-in-law. I'm gonna bring up my point in that. Why I say that. My sister-in-law, we went to this house. Me and my wife and my sister-in-law, we went to this house. I think it was like now, of course, you know, with the model home, they put all the bling in there. I think it was about $955,000. And you know, she was like, "Oh man, I didn't even record while I was in there." And while we was leaving out, she's like, "I didn't record while I was in there." And then she's like, "Oh well, you know what? It don't matter. You know, most of the people that I sell homes to, you know, they can only afford, you know, $150,000, $200,000 homes anyway." I said, "No, going back in there. How do you think you get the $1 million clients? You're showing them that, hey, this is what I sell too. If I want a $1 million home, and all I see on your page or your real estate page is $250,000 homes, you're not the real estate agent for me. But if you have the $1 million homes on there, hey, you showing me, okay, let me call her, because she look like she's selling the homes that I would like. She look like she's in the areas that I want to be in." So that's a whole nother video right there, but I'm gonna tap into that just a little bit. Just think about what I just said. She would have sold herself short if she focused on only, you know what I'm saying, what was in front of her. But instead, it's like, go ahead and tap into this, because this is what's going to bring you into the next level. Don't nobody know what level you're on if you're only showcasing this one. No, go on and be all the way across the board. That way you can get all the way across the board money. So as again, when you are the leader, stop waiting on the group. You are the group leader. They coming, but unfortunately, they sitting at the table waiting on you. You know how you ever been at school and somebody say, "Well, anybody want to do this?" Most people don't put their hand up. You might have that one. That's because more than likely they got enough, you know, ambition or, you know, gumption to stand up and do it. So take what I'm saying, and if you that person, don't sit still. Don't worry about who looking. Don't worry about what people are going to say. And if you're a believer, don't worry about how it's going to get started. God might just want to see, are you going to get up off that seat? Are you going to start knocking on some doors? And guess what? You might knock on one of them doors, and that may be the money to fund what you're doing. That may be the person that you need that has the intellect that you don't have. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes more than one person to operate a business. You know, you got the financial person, you got the strategizing, and the breakdown of all the different categories it takes to run a business. So take off and become that leader that you already are.